Hi John, thanks for sending in your videos to fixyourgame.com. This is PGA professional Brant Casbaum speaking, and I like your swing very much, John. You've got a good, strong, powerful, athletic swing, generate a lot of speed. I think there's a great foundation on which to work with here. I do see a couple things that we can improve on that I think will help you to hit the ball a little more solid, transfer more speed to the ball. I do see a little bit of wasted speed in the swing there. So let's get right into it. You'll see you're on the left-hand side. There's an example video over here on the right-hand side. This is yours truly. And while I'm not going to go out and win the U.S. Open anytime soon, I do like to show that I practice what I preach. So we'll use this as an example video. And we're going to talk about two main things today. One, we're going to talk about improving your overall rotation. And two, we're going to talk about improving the takeaway, which I think will help improve the rotation. So let's get into the rotation part first. Before I do that, I wanted to point out that if anything in this video part of the lesson or the written part of the lesson, which you see directly above, if any of it isn't clear, doesn't make sense, have questions, just shoot me an email anytime. Certainly very happy to help. The email address is info@fixyourgame.com, and you can also shoot me a question on Twitter or via Facebook. And you did notice the written part of the lesson just above the video here. There's some links to some YouTube videos where I demonstrate some drills that will help to improve the parts of your swing that we're going to look at today. So first we're going to talk about improving your rotation, and I like your posture very much here. You've got a nice straight spine angle, good flex in your right leg. Let's compare that over here. You see good balanced posture as well. One thing that is severely limiting your rotation is when you swing the club back, you turn up against your right side. And let's watch your right leg here as you swing that club back. You get to the top of the swing. Look at how you've straightened up this right leg, and it is almost perfectly straight now. You've kept your spine tilt forward or towards the ball or towards the ground, and that's very good. You haven't come up and out of your posture, but you've turned up against your right side as opposed to turning over your right side. And as you see here at the top of the swing, I come up and out of my posture a little bit, but there's still a good flex in my right knee. So let's look at this from another angle. Oh, you can see right here too. You can see that you're coming up and out of that, turning up against your right side. You can see space between your two knees. So I can see right down through to the driving range here, whereas over here you can't see any space between the two knees. Let's look at this from this angle and see what we can see from this angle. I want to make a note of your spine angle as it is relation to the target. So you're tilted slightly away from the target there, which is good. But let's watch what happens to your spine angle as you swing the club back. You can see here that you go firm up your right side right there. Your right knee has locked, and so there's no place for you to turn your weight except to tilt your upper body back in this direction or towards the target. So let's see from here on, you can see your spine angle gets tilted forward or towards the target, and this is what's now called a stacked position at the top of the swing. It's something that you didn't mention that you're working on stack and tilt, so I would assume that this is something that you're not doing intentionally in your swing. And I would want to see improve from this position. You can see here over on the right-hand side of the swing, spine angle has stayed pretty much the same. Those two lines are very close to parallel, but you can see here that these two lines are not very close to parallel, so you've changed your spine angle quite a bit as you swing the club back. This is what's going to be a main cause of any inconsistency in your ball striking, in your ball flight, because every time you change your spine angle on the way back, you have to change it back to this angle on the way down. Otherwise, you're not going to make consistent contact. So if you move your spine angle from this angle on the right to this angle on the left, you have to bring it and return it to that exact same spot every time to make consistent contact. And you do that well. You've got a very repeatable swing. But if you happen to not move your spine back exactly the same amount, you're going to hit one fat and then the next one thin, vice versa. It's much better to keep that spine angle exactly the same, and then you'll be able to deliver that club to the ball consistently every time. That moving spine angle creates it's another moving part. It's a variable in the swing. It makes your swing very reliant on timing, and so the idea is to minimize the number of moving parts in order to build a more consistent golf swing. So let's get rid of the lines here. You can see that you've tilted forward or towards the target at the top of the swing, and so you're turning up against your right side and not over your right side. Let's bring it back down here to the address position here. Let's look where your shoulders are here. You got your left shoulder there, right shoulder there. And then at the top of the swing, let's watch where your left shoulder is. See if you can get your weight turned over your right side. We get up to the top of the swing. You can see your left shoulder is now here. Doesn't get turned over to your right side. Let's take a look at the comparison here. Watch the left shoulder here, and watch where it is at the top of the swing. There, gets the weight turned over the right side. One thing that will make it easier for you to make this full turn or make your weight transfer over your right side, I'd like to see you narrow your stance a little bit. We showed these lines a second ago. You're quite a bit outside of shoulder width apart here, several inches, and you can see that as the example video, shoulders are, or my feet are just outside of shoulder width. So I'd like to see you narrow your stance by 6 or 8 inches. It'll make it easier for you to turn your weight over to your right side if your right side simply isn't so far away from your center. So narrow your stance a little bit, and let's focus on turning your weight over your right side as opposed to turning up against it. If you do it correctly, you'll still feel some flex or some tension in your right quad at the top of the golf swing. Right now, I would bet you feel no tension or no flex in your right quad because you've locked that right leg on the way back. There are a couple very simple drills that you can do that I've linked up to the YouTube videos in the written part of the lesson. Very easy to do. One of them you don't even need to be at a golf course to do. You simply place a club across your shoulders and make rotations and feel the weight transfer, feel the tension in that right quad. Because of locking of your right leg, it limits your rotation and makes you swing the club using arms and hands as opposed to using the large muscles of your torso and hips and shoulders. So as you swing the club back, on the takeaway especially, let's go frame by frame here, and you can see that as you swing the club back, there's very little movement with the torso and the hips. The club is coming up mainly just with your arms and hands. See right here, you've got the club more than halfway back, and you've had almost zero torso rotation or hip rotation. Let's compare that to here. Let's stop when the club is at the same spot. See the club is at the same spot. You can see the hips are already pointed and rotated away from the target, pointed in that direction. Sternum is pointed in that direction as well. I can see your hips are still pointed in this direction. Your sternum is still pointed in this direction. You got a little torso movement. And so from this position here, like we said a minute ago, there's no place for your torso to go but get tilted towards the target. So a very simple drill that you can practice as well. As you swing that club back, I want you to feel like your hands are staying in front of your torso throughout the backswing. Right here, I would say your torso is here, but your hands are back here. So your hands are behind your torso. You can really see that from this angle here. Let's bring it down to the address position. You can watch how the first few frames of your backswing are your arms and hands just lifting the club up with very little torso rotation. Let's see if we can swing that club back. You can see here very little rotation at all, and as the club gets all the way back to here, you can see your hips are still pointed at the ball, your torso is still pointed out towards the ball, but your hands are way behind you already. Let's compare that to this example video. Stop the club at the same spot. You can see when the club is here, you can see the hips have already started to open up, and you can see the sternum is rotated and the torso has rotated as well. So that's a very simple drill that you can do, is to just take some practice swings. You don't even have to have a club, but just make that rotation and keep your sternum pointed at your hands or pointed at the grip or the butt of the club. And that will ensure that you're rotating the club in a one-piece motion. You're not just lifting it up with your arms and hands. And I think that will help to improve your weight transfer as well. So take some practice swings again to feel like that the sternum is pointed at your hands throughout the backswing. And again, if this doesn't make sense, feel free to shoot me an email anytime. It's info@fixyourgame.com. Overall, John, I like your swing very much. Very powerful, very athletic, but because you're using a lot of arms and hands and not a lot of big muscles, you're leaving some speed on the table. And so if we can get you to improve your rotation a little bit, get you turned over your right side, not up against it, and get you using your torso and your hips to swing the club a little bit more as opposed to just using your arms and hands, I think you'll not only make more solid contact, more consistent contact, but you'll also hit the ball a little farther. You should be able to transfer more speed to the ball. Thanks again for sending in your videos, and as always, shoot me an email with any questions. Hope you're doing well. Thanks, John. Have a great day.